Peace, family. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another one. Welcome back. Listen, today we are talking about how to spiritually prepare yourself for the demise and the destruction and the change and the shift and the transformation of the United States that is happening already. Okay. We got a lot to talk about today, and I'm gonna try to do it in a way where you all can understand, get the gist, and be able to learn and grow from all the goodness. So, peace, family. Glad to have y'all here. Let me get everything set up. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So, I really want more people in here before I tell this dream because the dream is really the dream that I had last night, 2 nights ago, is really the basis of where this information and where this channel is coming from. Okay. So before I go into deep detail of the dream, I had a dream the other night where the United States was in shambles. Okay. Let's just say that. Okay. Let's just say that. I had a dream a few nights ago where the United States was just in shambles and it was just a mess. And when I woke up from that dream, y'all, I was scared. Like literally, I felt fear. And that's not something that happens all the time. So me waking up and feeling fear, it let me know that this is something that is real. This is something that is very important. And this is something that needs to be talked about. Okay. I'm telling you, hear me again. The night before last, I had a dream. I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all the dream. Dreamwise and I, one of my best friends and her husband and I, we had went out of town. We went on like a vacation together. Not far, somewhere in the city. It wasn't a beach, it was a city vacation. And we were staying at an Airbnb. We were staying at an Airbnb. And, we're enjoying ourselves. We're playing cards, we're playing dominoes, we're doing those things, we're living our life, we're having a good time. One of the hosts of the Airbnb comes to our room or comes to the home and says, y'all have to leave. Like, I need y'all to get out of here. And we're asking her, why are you making us leave? What is going on? Why do we have to go? And she doesn't say anything, right? She doesn't have an answer. All she knows is that whoever her boss is told her to remove us from the Airbnb. We had to go. Okay. And so we leave and we're like, okay, this is weird. This is awkward, whatever. We get in the car and I tell Dreamwise, right? This is in the dream. Follow me here. We're in a dream. This is my dream 2 nights ago. I tell Dreamwise, okay, babe, put the address to like get back home in the GPS so that we can go home. And the GPS starts to send us in a direction that I know is not the way that we came. Okay. The GPS starts to send us in a direction that I know is not the way that we came. And so I'm feeling funny about that. I'm like, okay, spirit, what is going on? What are you showing me? Why is this phone intentionally taking us in the wrong direction? So if we even stop and we think about that right now, there's a lot of shit that you are watching on your phone, on Instagram, on YouTube, on the news, on the shade room, whatever else. There's so much things that you are consuming on your phone that are leading you in the wrong direction. That's point number one. Okay. And I want you to know and understand that this is on purpose. This is not like, oh, I'm just seeing these crazy things just because, right? It's not like, oh, I'm seeing about this and that. That's just random. No, you are seeing things because this is a form of mental destruction, emotional destruction, and this is a strategy that has been put in place. This is also why there's this conversation about TikTok and all of these different things and all of that, right? So the phone in the dream is intentionally leading us the wrong way. And I'm turning and I'm just like, babe, this is not right. This is not the right way. And I tell him, I said, turn off the GPS, just turn off the GPS. Because even in the dream, my spirit was telling me that something was off. Because in the direction that the phone was taking us, it was just crowds and crowds and crowds of people. Okay. Crowds and crowds and crowds of people. I'm talking about white people, black people, Asian people, all types of people were going in the direction where the phone was actually trying to lead us. And as we're driving, this is when it really got crazy. As we're driving, I'm looking at the street signs because now I'm trying to take myself home. I'm not trying to listen to the phone. I'm looking at the street sign, and one of the street signs says Jonathan Majors. And I'm like, Spirit, now what? Now that's when I knew just some madness was happening, and it was really being revealed to me what is going on right now. Jonathan Majors on the street sign. And I look at them in the car and I'm like, do y'all see that? Like, why would this street be named Jonathan Majors? Why would this sign, this symbol, this thing that tells you the direction that we're headed, why would it be called Jonathan Majors? And I was just like, my mind was just blown at that point. And at that point, what I was receiving was, one, the whole Jonathan Majors and everything that he's going through, it absolutely is a distraction. That's one. But two, it's a sign of what is actually taking place in America right now, where there's this facade of everything being good and everything being great, but underneath there's some sick, demented, just stuff happening. And what's happening really is that a lot of people who are not self-aware, a lot of people who are not truly conscious, they're so easily influenced. And this is what the message that I received. The message that I received in that dream, to sum it up and to tell you what needs to happen moving forward, is the ignorance will be your demise. Ignorance will be your destruction. Not paying attention, right? Allowing the Jonathan Majors sign to get you off track, right? To get you confused. Allowing the GPS, right? Allowing this man-made, manufactured guidance system will lead you directly into chaos, because where the GPS was leading us to, because like I said, at first we started going that direction, and then I started paying attention, and I'm like, hold on, this is not the way that we should be going to get home. But going in that direction, like I said, there were a lot of people, there were police officers, everybody was under this spell. Do you hear me? I want you to hear me. See, we think that it's the government. Ooh, this is so good. See, a lot of people think it's the government doing this, and it's that, and it's the higher ups, and it's the elite, and all of this. Those people will not be the cause of the destruction. It is the ignorant sisters, brothers, neighbors, cousins, people that are around you, everyday people. It is the everyday people that will cause your demise and your destruction. And this is why people have to raise up and rise up in consciousness. Okay? Because whether it's the police officer, the doctor, the teacher, all of these people are under the influence. All of these people are listening to that GPS, right? Are receiving their guidance, are receiving their downloads, are receiving their information through media or through other ignorant people. Let me know if y'all are following me here. This is what was shown to me in this dream. And it shook me. Here's why it shook me so bad. It shook me so bad because the people in the dream had absolutely no clue that they were being destructive and that they were going to be the cause of their own demise. They had no clue. You know, a lot of times people say ignorance is bliss, but this dream showed me ignorance is destruction. when somebody is ignorant, and I don't even want to use this like the word ignorant, it could come off kind of strong, but when someone lacks self-awareness, when someone doesn't understand the truth of how this universe actually operates, when someone doesn't understand who and what they truly are, that ignorance is destructive, because you're easily influenced and penetrated by other people and by other things. Okay. I love that Beauty for Ashes said, what you don't know can hurt you. Absolutely. And that's the energy that is creating this destruction and this demise of America. If we're being all the way honest, the majority of America, one, does not know how the universe works. Okay? Listen to what I'm saying. Majority of the people that you work with, that you see at the store, that you engage with in your everyday life, they have absolutely no clue of what is creating and manifesting their reality. They think that everything is happening outside of them. And because everything is happening outside of them, they've given away their power. Okay? And so that level of ignorance is going to be the cause of the destruction and the demise of these here United States. Because it's too much. But at the same time, I want you all to know that there's something that you can personally do so that you don't have to feel the brunt of its destruction. Now, most of y'all have been hearing about, the central banks and all of that good stuff like that. Most of you probably have heard about food shortages. Most of you have probably heard about all of these things, that I don't really care to talk about all of those things, because you should be aware that this is taking place. But at the same time, you should have a level of consciousness that protects you from having to feel the brunt of those changes and the brunt of those shifts. But at the end of the day, these are the things that must happen in order for that new world, okay, in order for that new earth to be manifested. Let me know if y'all are following me, please. Just let me know in the chat. I'm telling you, I know I'm telling y'all this dream, and y'all may be like, well, D-Ray, it doesn't seem that scary or that spooky. But I'm telling y'all, when you see hundreds of people that are just under the influence, that is scary as hell. Think about that. Think about, spirit, okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm being told to tell y'all a story about what I mean, a real life experience that I had that really added to the emotion that I felt in this dream. My brother and I, my younger brother, Chris, which whom is one of my soulmates. I just love him. We just laugh every time we get together. I just love him. And we went to a party. We went to an outdoor party called Juve. And Juve is, it's a Caribbean party that happens out here. It's kind of like Carnival and all of these things that happen everywhere, but it's in Houston. And it's a nighttime party. It's typically out in the woods. And, there's a lot of people drinking, smoking. There's a lot of that going on. My brother and I, we show up to Juve, and he's going to meet some of his friends up there. In fact, funny enough, I was actually going to be meeting Dream Wise up there. He was already there. He was inside partying and doing his thing. This was in 2014, to be very specific. I was actually meeting him up there, and we're standing in a line. Mind you, this is an outdoor Caribbean party, so there's hundreds of people there. And there's hundreds of young people there, like teenagers, 18, 19, 20, 21, all the way up to probably their 40s or something like that. It's a large crowd of people of all of these different ages. So my brother and I, we're at the front of the line, and we're about to get ready to go in. And all of these people start pushing. They start pushing. They like, I'm ready to go in now. And y'all seen that. Think about what happened at the Travis Scott Astro World concert. Think about that. That's kind of what I saw in my dream. And that's literally what happened, an experience my younger brother and I had. So these people are pushing and pushing and pushing. They're ready to get into the party. They pushing, pushing, pushing. And the people at the front, which we are, start to fall on the ground. Now, fortunately, I stay on my feet, but my younger brother falls. My younger brother falls on the floor. Mind you, it's nighttime. We're in the woods. There are hundreds of people pushing. Okay. So my brother's on the floor and I'm standing up. I see that he's on the ground and all of these people are trampling. And I got my hand out to him and I'm like, Chris, grab my hand, grab my hand. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Y'all, he couldn't reach my hand and I couldn't reach him. And if I would have leaned any further, I would have fell too. I'm going to tell y'all how crazy this shit was. So I'm like, come on, come on, come on, come on, Chris, come on, come on, come on, come on. I'm trying to get him. I'm trying to get him. I'm trying to get him. Can't get him. Can't reach him. He's fighting for his life. He's fighting to get up out of this abyss. Follow me. It's dark outside. It's nighttime. We're in the middle of the woods and people are pushing to get into this party. So I can't reach him. I can't reach him. This random black man, security guard, comes through and scoops my brother up and puts him right beside me. And before we could even say thank you, he disappeared. He was an angel. He was an angel in the flesh. Okay. So all the times when people are always talking about angle of light and all of those stuff like that, I truly believe that spiritual energy, angelic energy embodies certain people and they do certain things on your behalf, right? And so in that moment, this angel in the form of this big black man picked my brother up out of the abyss, okay? Picked my brother up and gave him to me. And before we could even say thank you, the man was gone. He was an angel, literally. I'm going to tie this all back around. So I put my brother, because my brother was on the floor getting all trampled on. He loses his shoes. I put him on my back, honey, a warrior, not playing with my brother. I put my brother on my back because now we got to get out. Now there's shooting going on. People died at that event that night. Multiple people died. Multiple people died from gunshot wounds. Multiple people died from being trampled on. People died. All right. I picked my brother up on my back because it's wet out there. That's be the thing too about Juve. It's always kind of muddy at that time. So it's wet. It's dark. We in the woods. I'm trucking through the woods with my brother looking for my cousin who we came there with so that we can go because this has been the event from hell. Literally, y'all, we get home and my mama's like, what happened? I told my brother and I told my mom, I said, I literally just saw hell in person. Have you ever saw something with your two physical eyes, but you could see spiritually what was happening? At that event that year, hell had risen. Not playing. I told my mother and I told my brother, I said, Chris, I can't even play with you about what I saw because it's dark and you got all types of people, men, women, all types of ages and sizes on the ground at night screaming, ah, help me, ah. Literally some Dante Inferno shit I saw with my spiritual eyes. And this black man comes in and scoops my brother up, this angel. And I told my brother and I told my mother, I said, Chris, you were fighting for your life to get out of hell in that situation. And an angel came and brought you out of it, literally. So when I tell y'all about this dream that I had, and I tell you when hundreds of people get together and they lack self-awareness and they're ignorant and they have no level of consciousness, destruction, demise, and death happens. Okay? I'm just telling you literally what I just saw in my dream, and I've experienced this in real time, in the real world, in 2014. Literally experienced this. Okay. So this is kind of what's happening. A lot of this is happening right now. Okay. And so here's what I don't know if y'all heard of the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. These are two legendary cities in the Bible. And these two cities in the Bible, God destroyed. He burned them up, right? Burned these cities to hell, okay? Because he was angry. He was mad that the people in Sodom and Gomorrah were not living righteously, right? They were doing adultery. They were prideful. They were uncharitable. They were every goddamn thing that the United States is today. Everything that the United States is today, Sodom and Gomorrah was in those biblical times. You can research it. Okay? You can research it. But there was one family. Here's the key. There was one family in Sodom and Gomorrah who God saved from getting burnt up and killed with the rest of those cities. Okay? One family got saved. One. Do you hear me? One family got saved when these two cities got burnt to the ground, and everybody in them got killed too. Okay. And the reason why God saved that family is because they were righteous people, right? They held those moral codes. They understood who God was. They lived their lives righteously. And so God spared their lives. How did he do it? Okay. And I'm talking to you in biblical terms to give you an understanding of what is happening today so that you could apply it to your life right now. Okay. That's what's happening. So again, Sodom and Gomorrah, they adultery, sexual perversion. Oh God, we see that every day now. You can't even say who gives birth to children. You can't even say women. You got to say birthing person. You understand? Okay. People living from a lack mentality, don't know how to give, don't know how to share, don't know how to love, don't know how to, nurture and nourish their communities and their families. That's what's happening today. That's what's present right now. That is a real thing. Pridefulness. What? Egos of people out of this world. Okay. Egos out of this world, have no sense of humility, no sense of heart. Everything is so lower nature. Sodom and Gomorrah, go research it. All right. But that one family, the Lot family, two angels came to them. Two angels in the form of men. Two angels in the form of men, just like that angel came in and rescued my brother in our real life experience. Two angels came to them and said, I need you to evacuate now and never look back. Leave now and never look back. Okay. And funny enough, the wife of the Lot family, she looked back and she turned into salt. Ooh, come on. I'm going to talk to you about it. She looked back and turned into salt. So what am I telling you right now? If you want to be able to still thrive, still succeed, and still live a life of power, as these United States are turning into the Hunger Games, there's a certain code of ethics that you have to live by. And I'm not talking about morals, good or bad. I'm really talking about you have to understand who you truly are. You have to truly have a connection to your higher self. Here's why. Because a lot of times, because that connection is stagnant, a lot of times because that connection is not as strong and as fortified as it needs to be, we're going to talk about it. You may have those two angels come to you, just like the wife in the Lot family. She heard what those two angels said. They said, evacuate and don't look back. But what did she do? She looked back. And immediately as she turned to look back, she's gone. That's because her connection to her higher power, her connection to her higher self, her depth of trust wasn't where it needed to be. The only reason why you're looking back is if you don't trust what was actually given to you as you're supposed to move forward and pursue that vision. Okay? So if you want to be protected from the demise and the destruction, because y'all already seen China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, places in Africa, they all getting together. They like, forget the dollar. We don't want to deal with the dollar. The dollar can crash. You have all of these different farms and meat markets and plants and everything around America burning down to the ground. You have all of that happening. It's happening. The destruction is already happening. And I don't say this to scare you, because that's not even how I live. But I say this to let you know, first things first, you have to strengthen your own spirit. I told this to the Patreon family. You are in spiritual bondage if you cannot feel and fortify your spirit yourself. You don't need nobody to tell you what your higher self is doing and what your spirit wants you to know and what's the energy of the week. And I do those things, right? I coach people, I teach people, and I do all of these things. But my ultimate goal is to empower you enough to where you have that within yourself. So that when your angels or your angles of light, when you receive that divine insight on how you are supposed to move forward in this crazy ass time, you listen. You don't say, what would D-Ray do? What would D-Ray tell me to do right now? We don't have time for that. You have to know. And the way you strengthen your knowing is by powering up your connection to God, your higher self within you. So that when those divine messages come through, you trust it and you move. No matter what it is. Okay? You have to know this. So in my dream, when I saw that this GPS was leading us in the wrong direction, see, a person who does not have a fortified relationship with spirit, they'll just keep going, ooh, la, 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 la. Oh, I guess this is the way I'm supposed to go. And then before you know it, you surrounded by a crowd of mindless people, zombies, the walking dead, who seek to steal, kill, and destroy, and they don't even know why. They have no clue why they're angry. They have no clue of what's going on. They are just chaos. Okay? And you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that person. You got to know what you're doing and why. You got to learn to trust yourself. Trust your higher self. And so one of the things that you have to do is you have to be able to tell the difference between your ego and the difference between your spirit, your higher self, God. Okay? Yes, the voices are all in your head, but how do they sound? This is important. This is what you need to know in order for you to create a shield of divine protection around you amid the chaos. Okay? Even if we think about, let me tell y'all some good examples of this. And this is this, can I give y'all some examples of how this shit is showing up? And how it's been showing up and we've been seeing revelations of it? Come on, let me know if I can share it with y'all. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this is getting, for lack of better words, nasty. Okay? Can I share it with y'all? Now, this is a rather sensitive topic, but that's okay because we got to do it. That's okay because we got to do it. A lot of people who are, yeah, what's up, Chris? Oh, he said, please do. That's my brother. You done heard me. I was here. I told that story. Chris, did you hear me tell the story about when we were at Juve? See, you got to put yourself in positions, baby, for them angels to come and show up on your behalf. Ooh, y'all, after I had that dream last night, 2 nights ago, honey, I woke up around like 4 o'clock in the morning after having that dream. That dream woke me up like, scared, right? Because I was like, wow, what the hell? I was like, wow, what was that? Okay, like it was scary. It was scary because, again, you had all of these people, hundreds and hundreds of people with no awareness, with no connection to spirit. They were not grounded in God. They were, and they may confess that Jesus Christ is their Lord and Savior, or that Buddha or the Muhammad or Allah. They profess all of those things with their mouths, but it's not integrated into their being. This is what I'm talking about. It makes me I don't know what this emotion is that's coming up, but it's heavy in a sense. Because so many people, and I guess that's just my heart, right? My heart truly desires for people to tap into their power, right? And so it makes me feel some type of way to know that there are so many people that that don't understand the power that really is possessed inside of them, regardless of whether you are a spiritual being, regardless if you are a religious being. Like, you have to know that power for yourself. Here's a great example, and this is a sensitive topic, but it's a real one. Think about those, and it's spiritual, because I was talking to Dreamwise about this yesterday, and I could not get the name of this person, but it just came to me right now. So thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit, for giving me that name. Ooh, because I couldn't get it yesterday, but Spirit said, I'm going to give it to you today. Think about the Dylann Roof shooting. Do y'all remember the Dylann Roof shooting? Dylann Roof, crazy ass white guy, neo-Nazi type mentality. He goes into the church and he kills 9 people in the church. I told y'all this was going to be sensitive. And I told y'all this is going to really help you to understand what the hell I'm talking about. Dylann Roof goes into the church in Charleston, South Carolina. Shout out to Charleston, South Carolina. I went to school in Orangeburg, South Carolina, so I visited Charleston, South Carolina a lot. But this 21-year-old white boy goes into a black church and kills 9 people. Now, the reason why this is so hard and sensitive is because where was those people's intuition? Where was their spiritual guidance? Where was their shield of protection while they were in that church? And I know on one hand, we got everything happens for a reason. That was their destiny. That's why it happens. But I can speak to you with full conviction that 1, 2, 3, 4, hell, probably everybody in that church had a feeling, had a sense, had an intuitive message to say, maybe I don't need to go to Bible study today. Come on, let me tell y'all the truth. Let me tell you the truth. It happens. Maybe I don't need to go to Bible study today. Their spirit, the intuition, their angel came to them and said, don't go to Bible study today. But because how they feel like they're going to be judged by the pastor, or if I don't go, pastor probably going to be doing this, or if I don't go, Sister Cheryl, she going to be saying something, or if I don't, you ain't listening to your own angels, and you end up at a church that gets shot up by a 21-year-old white boy. Or think about the people who are in the church. And their spirit says, something is off with this boy right here, with this person right here. No, we don't need to let him in. I know God, I know the Bible said, let everybody in with open arms. I know that's what the Bible said. But right now, my spirit, my intuition, my angels is telling me something else. But because you lack that spiritual conviction within yourself, you will let all of this other stuff stop you from giving yourself the spiritual protection, okay? Stop you from being fortified, stop you from being protected. Do you understand what I'm saying? And this is why you have to develop your spirit for yourself. Nobody else can give it to you. Yes, you refer to these books. I don't care if it's a spiritual book. I don't care if it's The Magician, or I don't care what it is. Yes, you can refer to these books to empower you, but your connection to God has to be something that you tap into for yourself. And you have to trust that. Because otherwise, you'll end up in places and spaces and situations where there are people there who seek to kill, steal, and destroy, and they don't even know why. They're under the influence because they lack a mind. They lack a heart. They're not even real people if we really want to, because human nature is compassion and empathy. That's human nature. So a lot of these people who you go to work with, who you see in the streets and in the store, a lot of these people are not even real human beings. Do y'all, I'm really telling y'all what I was seeing in this dream. I'm not like what I'm expressing to you right now is exactly what I saw in the dream. The police were under the influence. Random people under the influence. Random people at jobs were under the influence. And I'm looking at dream and I'm like, babe, we got to get out of here. Because whatever is happening right here, these people don't have no minds. They have no connection to spirit. Okay? And that is destructive. Let me tell you another story. Our daughter, Cara, was 1 year old when this happened. So this happened probably in 2019. 2019. I guess Dream pissed me off or something. And I'm like, ooh, okay, baby, I'm about to go shopping or something, right? I want to go shopping. I want to go do some retail therapy. Ladies, you know what I mean. And to make it easier on Dream so that it would be no back and forth, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take Cara. I'm going to take the baby with me. We're going to go to the mall. Don't worry. You stay at home with KJ. Y'all relax. Y'all do y'all thing. I'm going to take Cara with me. We're going to go to the mall. We get in the car and we're driving and Cara starts crying. And I'm like, girl, why is you crying? We ain't even out the neighborhood yet. Why are you crying like this? And so Spirit was like, this is probably a sign you shouldn't go. This is what my intuition says. And so I drive off. I'm like, you know what? Let me just go to Starbucks right here around the corner. And if she stops crying, then good, we can go to the mall. If she keeps crying, I'm going to go back home. See, this is me testing my own spiritual guidance. I'm not relying on nobody else to tell me what I should be doing in my life. I got to trust my own internal knowing. So I'm driving, go to Starbucks, pick it up, and I'm almost to the light by my house, and here she goes. Wham! Wham! I just turned the car into the neighborhood. I said, babe, she crying too much. We coming home. Spirit told me don't go. Beautiful. I listened to Spirit. I follow my own conviction. I get to my school the next day. I was working as a high school teacher. I get to my school the next day, and 3 of my volleyball players come up to me and they say, Coach, we were at Memorial City Mall yesterday and there was a shooting. I said, are you serious? They was like, yes, we had to hide in the back of Forever 21, like in their like storage room, because somebody was there shooting. I said, y'all want to know what's so crazy? Is that I was coming to Memorial City Mall yesterday. And because my daughter was crying in the car so crazy, I turned around and went back home. See, that's the way that I could explain it to them because they were high school girls. They ain't knowing about all of that other stuff. But when Dream and I talked about it, we were like, damn. You see how spirit works? You see how it works when you have a connection to God, your higher self, when you listen to your intuition and you do not allow the influence, the logic, and the reasoning of anything or anybody outside of yourself to govern and dictate what you do, how you do it, and how you move. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. And so I was able to, in that moment, to be like, thank you. Thank you for the protection. You cannot sit up here and tell me that those people in that Charleston, South Carolina church, you cannot tell me that those people they just didn't have spiritual protection. No, they had spiritual protection. What they didn't have was spiritual conviction, meaning they didn't trust the conviction of their intuition. They didn't trust the conviction of their inner guidance. They allowed the ego or the potential judgment. And I'm not saying this is all of them. I'm not saying this is all of them. Because some of them that may have survived, they probably was like, man, listen, I remember I knew I shouldn't have been. Or they probably was like, Spirit told me to go to the bathroom at that time. So I can't speak for all of them. But what I can say is that overall, you better tap into your own intuition. You better tap into your own inner guidance. You better tap into your own inner strength, because there are people out here who seek to steal, kill, and destroy. And that's just what it is. And that's because they have no minds and they have no hearts. And I'm not telling you this to scare you or anything like that. You can look around and you can see that this is already happening. But when you have that spiritual conviction, that intuition, that connection to God yourself, when you have that level of spiritual power within you, come on, the proper word is when you have spiritual authority. So how do you gain spiritual authority? Well, one, you got to remember who the hell you are. That's step number one. You got to stop thinking that you are just regular old Joe Smo. I don't care what your life experience has been. You were made in the image and likeness of God. Period. Okay? Yea, though I walk through the valley of shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff comfort me. Come on. These are things you have to know. These are things you have to live by. But that Bible verse goes on to say, thou preparest a table in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointed my head with oil. Oh, come on, Spirit. So if we go even deeper into what the anointing of your head is, this means that your thoughts are purified, that you think thoughts that are of high vibration. You start to see and perceive the world from a place of love, meaning you can walk into these spaces and places and you know you're divinely protected. Your head got to be anointed. And a part of your head being anointed is knowing that ye are God. Is it not written in your law? That is who you are. Okay? You have to understand that all of these great teachers that have come before us, okay, all of these great supernatural, powerful teachers that are held in high regard that come before us, you are supposed to know and understand that they are you and you are them. The only difference is they have not allowed their trauma, their shortcomings, their fuck-ups and their failures, they have not allowed those things to define them. And many of you have. For a long time, I let the abandonment from my father define me. For a long time, I let the not feeling loved, right, define me. For a long time, I felt like, to be honest, for a long time, I felt Like I couldn't be my true self with my mother, and I let that define me. And it made me close myself off and live in fear and not live in my power and just be afraid. But that's not an anointed head. That's me living in the valley of death and being afraid. And not only that, that's me being in this world and of this world. But we're supposed to be in the world, but not of it, meaning you are of something else. And that something else is divinity, it's power, right? It's supernatural. That's the other, right? That's being of something else. And so a part of your spiritual connection is going to be strengthening that spiritual muscle. And the way you strengthen that spiritual muscle is through exercising it. Meaning you got to ask for guidance. You got to ask for guidance. And you know what? I can't make this up, right? I just got a notification on my phone. That says, when in doubt, focus on work or an interest that feels sacred to you. Come on, Spirit. Thank you for that confirmation. See, when I'm talking about spiritual authority and spiritual power, it's about being able to, and this is a whole nother thing. This is a part of it. You have to be able to see spirit, God, your higher self at work in your life. You have to be able to see those signs and symbols, and you have to know how to utilize them. So even the notification that just popped up on my phone from the app, The Pattern. Y'all have heard of that app before, The Pattern. Sometimes The Pattern sends me notifications. I'll be like, girl, bye. It ain't hitting. But sometimes when I see that notification and it is, I say, Ashe, amen to that. I get in agreement with that because I think that you always receive what you need when you need it. This is spiritual power. But this takes a certain level of a certain mentality to be able to see your human reality as serving your highest good. But see, people who are ignorant to that will always see a problem, will always see an issue, will always bring forth chaos and destruction and demise. And I'm telling you, you are surrounded by people who have that state of being. And this is why you have to have your spiritual power on lock so that their destruction doesn't become your destruction, so that their demise, so that their cup of destruction don't runneth over on you. Okay? I say, you don't want their cup of negativity. You don't need their cup of lack, their cup of disease, their cup of all of that. You don't need that shit running over on you. So you have to have spiritual power to know how to navigate that and to know how to place a spiritual shield around you so that your angels can come to you and tell you, okay, it's time for you to evacuate. It's time for you to move. It's time for you to do this. It's time for you to do something different. And I'm not saying that everything that you are called to do is going to be easy. You think it was easy for the Lot family in the Bible? I can tell you come on. In the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, the two legendary cities in the Bible who were burnt down by God's rage and anger because they were not living righteously. The Lot family, that one family that two angels came to say, hey, I want y'all to evacuate. They were about to, the father of the family was about to sacrifice his daughter, not kill her, but he was going to give her to a ruler or something like that so that they would be protected. And the angels was like, no, you don't got to do that. You don't got to do that. Just leave, evacuate. You think it's easy to leave your home, to leave your comfort, to leave all that you've known? That's not easy. But sometimes that's what you got to do for your protection. And so you can take that however you need to take that. I'm not telling y'all to move to Africa, even though that was in my dream too. I'm not telling y'all to move to Africa or to the Dominican Republic and all of that. I'm not telling you to run away from America. I'm not telling you to do that. I'm telling you to strengthen your spirit. I'm telling you to strengthen your connection with your higher self. I'm telling you to understand the power that dwells inside of you. I'm telling you to put that power to the test. I did that, right? Like when I just told y'all the story about Kara, I put that power to the test. I said, okay, Spirit, I'm receiving this message, but my ego wants to go to the mall, but this soft, intuitive voice is telling me to do something different, but my ego wants to go shopping. I'm having this battle. So I have to put it to the test. Okay, Spirit, what do I need to do to let this happen if I'm supposed to do this? Why are we afraid to do that? Stop being afraid to ask for your confirmation, to ask for your synchronicity. This is going to empower your spirit. This is going to build more confidence. This is what's going to build more conviction in your being. But so many people have been taught, don't question God. Why? Why not? That's ego. The people who push that rhetoric, don't ask God questions. Don't ask your higher self questions. The people who push that rhetoric push that because they be pastors, preachers, and rabbis and priests, okay? And they don't want to be questioned. Let me tell you why they don't want to be questioned. They don't want to be questioned because they ain't got the damn answer. And if you ask them a question and they don't have the answer that resonates in your spirit, what does that make them look like to you? Come on. Ain't no ego when you're dealing with your higher self. You get to ask questions and receive the answer. But you can't be afraid to ask. You need to ask. This is what's going to build up your confidence and your conviction so that when you are needing answers and you're needing those responses and you're needing that confirmation and you're needing to know where to move, how to move, you'll just know. You'll just know. So let me tell you a good example of this. This just happened on Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you should, my YouTube family. And if you're on Instagram and you don't follow me on YouTube, you should, right? The Healing Coach on both platforms. Well, Instagram is DRay_the Healing Coach. Let me tell y'all how Spirit came through for me yesterday. And this pastor tried to come for me. Let me tell y'all how this pastor tried to come for me. I posted on Instagram 3 reasons why I stopped going to church. Real talk, my reality, why I stopped going to church. And I was just being honest about it, right? Like we can talk about this, right? Because a lot of people don't like to talk about it. Some of y'all ain't never talked to your family about it because you like, we're going to get into an argument and all of that stuff like that. And I felt that same way too, which is why I didn't talk to my family about it when I first stopped, right? They just like, oh, Desiree, she tripping or she going through something. But they didn't know that I had done the mental, emotional, and spiritual alchemy. I had became a different person. So this pastor comes on my Instagram post. I don't know this man from Jack, Jane, Jill, John, Joseph. I do not know who this man is. He comes on my page and he talks about Satan and hell is rejoicing for her. I just laughed because, sir, you are the exact hypocrisy as to why many people are leaving the church, have left the church, etc., etc. You are it. And Spirit is so good. Oh my God, y'all. Ooh. When I tell y'all, I received so many downloads about this pastor. And let me tell you, I told him straight up. I said, sir, I ain't even deleted. So if y'all go to my Instagram, y'all will be able to see it. I told him straight up. I said, first of all, I'm still blissed and blessed. Amen. Okay. Satan and hell is rejoicing for me in your language according to you, and I'm still blessed. Now, how was that? And I said, and you are the exact hypocrisy of what I'm talking about. And for you to be a man of God, an ordained minister, you just cast a judgment on me. But I bet you didn't know the judgment you cast on me is the judgment you've casted on yourself. And you a pastor? You ought to be ashamed. This is how I'm reading him down. But I said, I could keep going. Because Spirit had already told me all of this man's life story. All of it. That's a part of the power that you have when you tap into Spirit. You can look at a person and see their whole Akashic records. No lie. When you tap into your higher self, when you get truly connected to God, you can be in the same space as a person and pick up on how they thinking, pick up on how they feeling, pick up on what's going on in their life. And from that moment, you can determine, I probably need to move around from this person. Or maybe I need to support and help this person. So I had to tell that pastor, if I were you, I would stop right now and go ask God for forgiveness for not living and not leading in the way God has ordained me to. Because for you to eat TD Jakes, Joel Osteen, Creflo Dollar, they ain't got time to comment on my post about why I stopped going to church, but you do. And if I were you, I would stop, because I can read you like a whole book, because that's the spiritual authority that I have. And if he would have asked me, how do you know all of this about me? Just by looking on my Instagram page, I would say, simply put, God told me so. I just laughed at that as I looked at this man, because I'm like, you don't know the spiritual power that I have. You think that because you are cloaked in Christianity, that you can't be read for filth. Okay? Stop it. All right? But I have been able to cultivate that spiritual power because, one, I believe in myself. I know that God dwells inside of me. I know that I come with a certain level of power and prowess. I know that I am an authority. I know that I am the authority of my own life. I know that I can speak life, and I know that I can speak death. I know I can speak to creation. I know I can speak to destruction. Which goes to the second part of what I want you all to know. As the world is changing and this new world is being cultivated and created, you have to truly integrate with the laws of the universe. And Naturally Holistic Vibe says, don't give him the energy. Your message is much bigger. He didn't come back. So he wasn't prepared to receive it anyways. But we can't. So here's another thing. Sometimes things need to be said. And we can't listen. Let me tell y'all straight up. I don't care how spiritual you are. The high road is not always the option. Sometimes you got to destroy things. Sometimes you got to pull that sword. And that's what was happening in that moment. So it's not about giving him that energy. It is destroying the illusion of who and what he thinks he's doing by coming on my page. Sometimes that is necessary. Sometimes you got to wield your sword. Everything is not, I got to take the high road. Or I'm not even going to give that energy. No, sometimes you got to give it energy because you're going to destroy something at the core. And everything that Spirit channeled to me about this specific brother needs to be destroyed at the core, at the root, literally. I ain't going to put his business out here because he didn't ask. He didn't come back for it. I told him, I said, hey, if you want me to keep going, I can. Let me know. He ain't come back for it. But I want y'all to know that it's like abuse. Because what he said on my page was a form of abuse. It was a form of him using what he thinks is his spiritual power. He thinks because he has on a robe, okay? He thinks because he stands behind a pulpit he wants. And it's a lie. It's a lie when you're dealing with somebody as powerful as me. Okay? It's a lie. It don't matter whether you the priest, the pope, the rabbi, the pastor. If you are not moving in love and higher spiritual consciousness and in truth, no, we ain't doing that. Because some things you gotta wield that sword and you gotta shut it down. And the comment that I gave him, it clearly is shut it all the way down. He had to go back and say, okay, Spirit, thank you. Okay, God, thank you. I needed that lesson. I'm tripping. I got in my ego. I got offended. If we're really being real about what happened on that post and why he came on my page and said, hell is rejoicing for me, what it really was that has to be destroyed at the core is he was triggered. He was triggered that more people are engaging with my post about why I stopped going to church. He was triggered that more people were commenting and engaging with me than he gets in his Sunday service. He was jealous. He was envious. And he's supposed to be a man of God. A real man of God would have said, you know what, sister? I'm sorry you had that experience at those two churches. I want to open up my church doors to you. I want you to come on in and see if we can feed your spirit, if we can uplift you and support you and your family. But no, you go to his page, it's him behind a pulpit with a robe on, the cloak of Christianity and a cross, and he got the nerve to come on my page and say, hell is rejoicing. He has to be, that energy, that spirit has to be destroyed. It's not of love. You see the difference there? What happened to open doors? What happened to all of that? All of that went through the roof, okay? Because he was jealous, because he was envious, because he was triggered, all right? But needless to say, you are surrounded. Oh, come on, Shay. Shay just said he was intimidated by the divine feminine. Absolutely was. Absolutely. Girl, Shay, we're going to talk in private because I can tell you in private even more. Spirit already gave it all to me. And that's spiritual power. And that's spiritual authority. Spirit already gave it all to me, but that's absolutely true as well, Shay. Absolutely true. 100% true. Which a lot of those men are in those spaces, which is an issue, which y'all. All right, I think I'm back. Which that's a religious programming. That's one of the biggest things that have been programmed into people in that religious sector, not to honor the divine feminine, right? That's why you got the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. What happened to the woman? All life comes through the woman, you know, but we ain't even gonna go into all of that. All right, we ain't even gonna go into all of that. But thank you for that, Shay. That was absolute facts. Angel Face says, I agree. My boundaries shut down a lot of people, especially family. Exactly. Exactly. And that's the power and that's the authority that we have over our lives. And you got to utilize it. Because if you don't utilize that power, these people who are under the influence will use it against you. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about in this space and time. A part of your spiritual protection is understanding the power that you possess. Okay? Sometimes you got to straight up cut the tongue out of people's mouth. Just has to happen. For the greater good. For the greater good, things like that have to happen. Because this man is leading the church and he leading them straight to I don't know where. Not to enlightenment, I can tell you that. And that's where spiritual power and spiritual authority comes into place. Okay? Not to enlightenment. So, something else I want y'all to know in this time as a form of fortifying your spirit and protecting you and keeping you nourished and keeping you provided for in this crazy ass world where the currency is about to be changing soon, and inflation and all of this shit, all of this stuff, the Hunger Games, right? And y'all, I don't know if y'all have noticed this though, but on Netflix, why are all the Hunger Games like all the top movies now? Like, them movies came out so many years ago. Why are they all like, excuse me, number 1 or number 5 and number 7, number 8, all of the Hunger Game movies? It's not a coincidence. And I'm not telling you that that is what this world will come to, because I haven't got that vision yet. But what I do know yet, and I hope to not get it, because I did not like the Hunger Games. I did not like that movie. It was too, those movies, it was too, it felt too real. It felt like it was really something that could come into fruition, you know? And so one thing that is going to be super important, family, is that you have to understand universal law. You have to understand universal law, universal laws. You need to know this. You need to know how this universe operates, and you need to utilize that wisdom. You need to integrate that wisdom into your life. Okay? You really need to. Because when you start using universal law, see, a lot of times religion is just telling you, thou shalt not, thou shalt not, thou shalt not. Well, what the hell can I do? What should I do? And a part of that power is using those universal laws, right? Mentalism, correspondence, gender, rhythm, cause and effect. Like, you have to know what these things are. And they should be a regular part of your life. There's power within that. There's power in tapping into what governs nature itself. Not just what governs people, what governs nature. The sun, the moon, the birds, the bees. When you understand universal law, this empowers you as you are navigating this human realm. You have to know this. And you have to implement this. And then the last thing that I want you to understand, family, as a form of your spiritual protection, the last thing that's a major form of spiritual protection right now is the power of your word and the power of your attention. Now, we say this all the time. You guys hear this all the time. We say this all the time. But my daughter gave me a real-time example of this just yesterday. I was taking Cara and Kimmy a bath. Those are both our girls, 5 and 1 years old. I'm taking them a bath, and Kimmy starts putting her hand on Cara's face. They're in the tub. And I'm like, Kimmy, why are you hitting your sister in the face? Cara says, no, mommy, she's not hitting my face. She's just rubbing my face. Now, Kimmy was a little bit aggressive with what she was doing, but Cara used her words to empower the situation, while in that moment, I had used my words in a way that wasn't necessarily empowering. That was really more on the aggressive side, hitting versus rubbing, or hitting versus touching. See, we think that things like that are just so small. Oh, it's minuscule. Oh, it doesn't have a big meaning, but it does. It's everything right now. It is everything right now. So some of those phrases that we've been trained to say, we have to stop. For example, people say things like, "Ooh, my back is killing me." Now you just casted a spell on yourself at that moment. Has to stop. Or, "Ooh, these kids is getting on my last nerves." Or, "Ooh, these groceries are so expensive." "Ooh, I don't know how I'm gonna afford this rent this month." You have to understand the power of your word. Your word is your sword. Your word is your authority. Your word is your creation, your creation mechanism. And so before you speak, you really have to think. You really have to ask yourself, does the words that I'm about to speak right now enable my growth, my healing, and my transformation? Or does it enable my destruction? Does it take away from me? These are things that were being revealed to me in the dream that I had 2 nights ago. And I just had to share it with y'all. And I want to say, when it comes down to large crowds and big events like that, really, before you decide that you're going to go, and listen, I really wanted to go to the Beyonce concert, but I'm like, okay, you know what? First of all, it didn't work out for me with understanding how she was doing them tickets. I didn't know how she was doing it. I was not tuned in. I'm not a part of the Beehive, but I really wanted to go. And when I didn't follow the protocol or whatever, I just was like, okay, I'm gonna just see if I can get tickets. And I still can get tickets now. But after having that dream, I'm like, damn, I don't know if I should be going to the Beyonce concert. Because a part of the energy that I picked up on is we don't want to be in large crowds surrounded by a lot of people. Because that's a lot of energy that you have to manage. And you don't, and when it's so much energy, all convoluted in one space, that you could be the most spiritual powerhouse person, but you just may be outnumbered energetically. You understand? You may just be outnumbered energetically. You may walk in a space with your power, but because you're having to energetically go to war with this low vibration and this low vibration and this low vibration, you get overwhelmed by that. Okay? So manage going into large crowds and big spaces, in places that are convoluted with a whole bunch of people, because a lot of people are going crazy right now. And again, I do not like doing fear mongering. That's not what I'm doing right now. I'm just helping you to be prepared. I'm just helping you to choose where you go, what you do, why you do it, how you do it, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? Really ask yourself, hell, I barely go into the grocery store. I'm a pickup girl. I'm a curbside pickup girl, right? Because there's just so much energy. And when you're surrounded by so many people who lack a mind and lack compassion. Now, let me say this. Some of you may live in environments that are more conscious than others. And that's a real thing as well. And let me tell y'all another part of this dream just to help y'all understand what I'm talking about. I have an old friend. I won't say his name, but he's in jail right now for murder. And he was in that dream too. And it was so crazy. I was like, wow, Spirit, you just showing me a lot. And so I told y'all, Dream and I and our friends, we were staying at like a hotel or Airbnb or something. And my homeboy, who's in jail right now for murder, he didn't commit the murder, but the person he was with that night did. So he's guilty by association. And that's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm telling you, be conscious and be aware of where you are going and with who. Because though you may have your spiritual energy, you have your spiritual power, you got your wisdom, you got your knowledge, you got your insight, you may be surrounded by people who are lacking awareness, who are in their lower nature, and then things happen. And now their cup, like I just said earlier, their cup of negativity, their cup of chaos, their cup of all of that runneth over. And it's flowing onto you, like my homeboy who was in my dream. I've never dreamt about this homeboy before. I ain't thought about him in a long time. But he popped up in my dream 2 nights ago. And the first thought that came to mind was guilty of association. Guilty by association. I like what Shay just said. She said, be aware of unwise association. You can't do everything you used to do. You can't go to all the places that you used to go to. Sometimes you got to say no, but it's for your protection. Do you understand? It's for your protection. And you need it right now. You need it right now. I can't tell you exactly how long this space or this energy is going to be present, but it is. And I know based off of how that dream made me feel. If I would have woke up and I wouldn't have felt anything, I would have been like, okay, that was an interesting dream. Thank you, Spirit. I received the message for myself. But because the emotion was so deep and it really woke me up very abruptly, and then couldn't sleep for hours after that, and then receiving message after message after message after message after message, I was like, all right, I get it. I get it. This is not just for me. This is something cosmic. This is something powerful. Don't think that the spiritual vision stopped with Noah in the ark, okay? Don't think that it stopped there. Many of you are still receiving spiritual prophetic visions. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. It don't matter. You are still receiving revelations, visions, dreams, etc., that are spiritual, that are powerful, and that need to be shared. Those prophetic dreams, they're for you. But if it makes you feel a certain level of conviction, you need to share it, because somebody is going to take heed. Somebody is going to receive it, and it potentially could save somebody for real. And that's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm here today. That is what this video has been about. You know, putting yourself in situations that are going to keep you safe as this world is changing. Because if whether y'all have noticed or not, or accepted it or not, this United States as we know it is changing, and it's been changing since COVID happened. You know, it's been changing. And we got to respect that. We got to honor that. We can't keep walking through life all nonchalantly and in la la land. No, you have to tap into your spiritual power and into your spiritual prowess. And you have to know that you are an authority, that you are a powerhouse. You got to know that. You got to start living like that. And when you live like that, you'll receive the angelic and divine assistance that you need. But if you think, oh, I'm just regular, I'm not a cosmic being, I'm just regular, I'm just normal, and there's nothing special about me. Some of y'all be telling yourselves little pity party stories like that, you know? And if you're telling yourself stories like that, then your wish is my command, because the world is your oyster. So, okay, here's normalcy. Here's a lack of spiritual power. Here's a lack of spiritual authority. And I'm telling y'all, I got so many more stories to tell on this. I can't even tell you all of it right now because it's a lot. But let me also say this. It don't matter. Even if you still believe in a religion or live that type of lifestyle, you still can have spiritual authority. Because even in that, you can have such a conviction and such a knowing that you don't give a damn about what nobody says. When you hear God talk to you, whatever God that may be, Allah, Buddha, Muhammad, whatever, whoever, that conviction can still dwell inside of you. But for those of you who are spiritual beings and you understand that all of these great teachers are just giving you an example of who you are and how you are supposed to live, own it. Own it. Okay? Own it. Do not downplay that power. And that's what we do sometimes. Sometimes we downplay that power. We like, I don't know. And that's why, like I told y'all, when that pastor came on my page, oh, honey, I was ready to chop his head clean off. Because I know who the hell I am. And funny enough, as I was looking at his pictures and I was receiving all of these downloads, his own mother was coming through speaking to me. His own mama, who's an ancestor. I'm telling you, when you tap into your power, when you tap into who you divinely are, honey, the level of conviction that comes over you, honey, you're going to receive everything that you need to know when you need to know it. That's because you're living from a place of conviction. You're living from a place of knowing. You're living from a place of trust. You're living from a place of truth. And so when you receive those answers, nobody can tell you otherwise, even if they deny it. Even if they say, no, that's not true, that's not really what's happening, your spirit will be like, yes, it is. They don't know it, but yes, it is. That's what it is. You'll see everything. His own mama was coming through telling me his whole story. This is the power that you have. This is the power that you have. And it doesn't matter what your, if you have that conviction and that power, you hold on to it. Listen, I am not here to defend whether Jesus did it, Muhammad did it, Buddha did it. I don't care about that. I'm telling you that there is power inside of you. There is divinity inside of you. And if you keep relying on everything outside of yourself, you will end up at the wrong place at the wrong time. And you'll be like, how the hell did I get here? What am I doing? What is my life? Like, I'm confused. That's because you bet on everybody else and everything else but yourself. So I'm telling you, hold your head up, put your big boy, your big girl drawers on, stick your chest out, and start walking through life with a certain level of conviction and spiritual authority and spiritual power. You will get the results. You will get the results. And even when things don't look like they're working out in your favor, because you have spiritual power, you can alchemically change the situation to be in your best alignment. That's spiritual power. See, when you don't have spiritual power, it's like, okay, whatever happens, happens. Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, damsel in distress. When you do have spiritual power, it's like, okay, I see that. All right, Spirit, what is this teaching me? How am I growing from this? How does this serve me? What do I do with it now? How does it lead to my growth? How does it lead to my healing? How do I use this as a moment of empowerment? That's just how you live. That's just what you do. So y'all got to protect yourselves out here. You got to protect yourselves out here. The money is changing, the food. I mean, I don't even like talking about those things, but it's happening. And Jonathan Majors is just a big ass symbol. He is just a big ass sign. Okay. And I want to say a big ass sign of the illusion that is taking place, the glamour that is taking place. Okay. So really reconsider when you're moving around through life. Let me see what y'all are talking about. Cece says, dreamt my car got hit at a party I attended, and 4 days ago, my car was totaled by a drunk driver. My dreams are where I get my downloads for sure. Exactly. And you got to know that. So when you having those dreams, you like, got it. And then you shape your waking life around that. Natiri says big facts, or they have to dig deeper, then we'll say, oh yeah, you're right. Exactly. All you got to do, man, when you see, it's a difference though, but you got to have that conviction. You got to know that you know that you know that you know that you know. And it's not an ego knowing. It's not an ego knowing. When your spirit knows, when your heart knows, there's a subtlety to it. There's an ease to it. There's no convincing has to happen. I don't have to convince myself of things that I know. I don't have to just be like, oh, okay, well, it's not no back and forth happening. There's I just get it all up in here, all up in here. It just sits. It just sits. Being in a large crowd gives them perfect position and opportunity to do crazy things to you. Absolutely. So true. Be careful out in large crowds. Growing up in Christianity with so much fear, I had to learn to speak life into myself. Absolutely. Absolutely. You got to do that. Especially for a lot of women. A lot of women, I had a meditation about this past weekend. A lot of women who grew up in religion and spiritual, and who grew up in, and I could probably in Muslim and in Christianity, a lot of shutting down happens. A lot of shutting down happens. A lot of silencing happens. I did a meditation on Saturday morning, and in my meditation, there were a lot of women, and I went into a temple in my meditation, and I saw a lot of women wearing robes, like priest robes, like pope robes, like how you would see out there in the UK and London and stuff like that. They were having those robes on. They had the big crowns on their head. And one of the messages that I was receiving from these high priestess, because that's what they were high priestess. They were above all of these men that think they got spiritual power that be leading people directly to hell, right? They were basically saying, we possess that true spiritual power and that true spiritual fortitude, but they've been silenced by the patriarchal society, right? They've been silenced by it's like coercion, right? A lot of women have been coerced out of their power because obviously men have more physical strength. Because they have more physical strength, a lot of powerful spiritual women were coerced out of their power. They were silenced. And so right now, an activation has happened where now women are ready to go to war. Women are going to war spiritually. This live stream right now is a form of spiritual war. And me destroying the illusion of mediocrity, destroying the illusion of not being sacred, destroying the illusion of not being powerful, destroying the illusion of not being tuned in and tapped into the God that dwells inside of you. Because the essence of religion was for you to feel that God is not inside of you, God is outside of you, and you got to beg and you got to pray and you better hope that God blesses you, takes care of you, provides for you, and all of those things. And so you walk by faith and not by sight, and you got all of this blind faith, but you don't know how to activate that faith really, because you don't have control over your destiny. You don't have control over your manifestations. You don't have control over your life. So you're just waiting. You're just like, okay, when is good going to happen in my life? Instead of you owning the fact that if you start thinking higher of yourself, if you start feeling worthy, you start living your life as if you are a valuable, divine goddess being, the fruits of that will manifest around you. That's the power that you've been given. That's the essence of free will. But a lot of religion, we've totally forgotten the fact that we choose. Totally forgotten the fact that life and death lies in the power of your own tongue. Totally forgotten the fact that you were made in the image and likeness of God, which means that you too are a creator. So this is that. This is that energy, destroying that fear, destroying that silence. That's what we're talking about. Okay? That's what we're talking about, letting it go. Jenny says, it's crazy. I've been getting a lot of messages to be in nature, isolated, and this was confirmation to just chill and renew my energy. Exactly. There's protection there. There's protection there. There's safety there. Okay? Beauty for Ashes says, right, because I walked in that conviction in Christianity for years before my awakening. And that's okay. Listen, if you grew up in the church like I did, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's a lot of power that came from that experience in church. For me, for sure. And the person that you see today is the person I've always been. I used to go in the church and them ladies would say, "Ooh, baby, you are anointed." Been that way. Been that way. I'm just deciding to do it with y'all and do it from my own unique, divine, sacred way. But that's who I've always been. I've always been who you see right now is who I've always been, but I've forgotten about it because of the judgment, the criticism, the fear, all of that, the trauma, the abuse. I've forgotten about it and I had to let that go. So for so many of you, access to your power is there, but you can't see it and you can't access it because you're still identified with the hurt, the pain, the trauma, the lack, all of those good things like that. So you're being asked to let that go. Okay. Okay. You're being asked to let that go. Thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely going to keep up the good work. I appreciate y'all being here on Instagram and on YouTube. Let me see what this question is. Can you elaborate more on Jonathan Majors or whatever his name is? Laugh out loud. What does his story represent? In my dream, I saw a street that was named Jonathan Majors, right? And I know ain't no damn street named Jonathan Majors. And in this dream, like I said, so essentially what Jonathan Majors' entire story represents is distraction. But more importantly, it's a sign to wake the hell up. That's what it means more importantly. Why? Because like I said, in my dream, this GPS was taking us into a specific direction. And I was like, this ain't the way to go. But when I saw the sign that said Jonathan Majors, this is what really snapped me out of my dream and helped me realize, oh shit, this is all like a simulation and everything is fake here and nothing real is happening. When I saw the Jonathan Majors street sign, I woke up. So when I think about the story of Jonathan Majors and I think about how captivating he is and how captivating he's been over the last few years since doing Lovecraft Country to now Creed and the other movies that he's recently done. When I think about how captivating he's been and him now showing up in my dream that really woke me up to know that an illusion was happening, what I take away from that is his entire story right now is a damn illusion. It's like a whole big ass false flag. It's all a lie. It doesn't even matter. And the reality of it is that it really doesn't matter for our lives because on a spiritual level, yes, the work that he's done is powerful and it is important, right? Because movies tell a story and these images we start to believe, like Cain the Conqueror, that's a powerful role that he plays. And it does impact our subconscious mind. But the reality is that it's up to us for our lives to change, for our lives to grow, for our lives to evolve. We can't live through Jonathan Majors. His success is not our success. And a lot of times as Black people, right? And I'm not trying to limit you to Black people. You are a cosmic being, but just giving you an example. A lot of times as Black people, when another Black person finds success, we attach ourselves to that success. It's like Jonathan. Oh yeah, Jonathan Majors, that's my boy. Yeah, he did that. I love him for that. His success becomes our success and his failure becomes our failure. And so to me, Spirit is just saying, separate from that. Separate from the masses, separate from separate from even trying to figure out what the hell is going on with him in this situation, because it's all really an illusion. It's not a real street. It's not a real sign. It's not it's just not something that really impacts my life personally. This is his life. This is his challenge. This is his battle. This is his thing to figure out, to work through, so on and so forth. So like I said, when I saw that sign, this is what really woke me up and let me know that assimilation was happening and that a false flag was happening in my dream. And so when I think about that in the waking life, I say the same thing. it's a false flag. It's a simulation. It's like they're running a play to see what's going to happen. Okay. So we don't need to invest in it so much. I mean, it's an interesting conversation, but make sure that you're not emotionally invested in what the hell he got going on, because it don't really affect your life. Really. You know, he ain't your husband, your brother, your father, your cousin, all of that good stuff like that. All right. All right, family. That's my message for y'all today. I know it probably was intense and a lot to think about, but this information is important right now, especially as the world is just changing. The world is changing, and it's time to be free. It's time to truly be free. And I think true freedom comes from that spiritual sovereignty that only you can create from inside, through truly being connected to your sacred self, to that divine part of you. Okay. And you got to put that relationship to the test. You got to put that relationship to the test. And Dream and I do it all the time. Just the other day, we was like, okay, Spirit, we're going to go here. Give us the confirmation that this is where we should be. And we walk into the place and we see our son's birthday on the wall, 3/28, our firstborn. I'm like, okay, I see you, Spirit. This is where we're supposed to be. So you get to do things like that in your life. You get to do things like that in your life. You should be doing things like that in your daily life every day. Every day when you wake up, propose a question to God, your higher self. There's no ego in that space. You know, your higher self wants you to know and understand how to navigate in this reality. So ask those questions. You know what I mean? Put yourself to the test. And when you get your answers, walk in it, live in it, so that you can see what the fruit of that faith and what the fruit of that trust actually will be. You know, don't wait on nobody outside of you to tell you who God is, what God is, where God resides, and all of that. Like, don't do that, because that'll have you in destruction and in demise. And that's not the way you're supposed to live, right? Your angels, that divine spiritual guidance, is always communicating to you and guiding you and leading you and directing you. But if you don't trust it, you'll believe what the politician, what Joe Biden them said, okay? You'll believe what I don't be wanting this shit. It be so funny, because it's like, you know, for example, people that's in politics. If Trump said it, oh, it's so bad. If Biden said it, oh, it's not that bad. It's kind of okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's just madness. It's just like, think. Be your own authority. Be your own authority, all right? That's my message for y'all. If you want to be spiritually protected in this time, you have to cultivate that spiritual relationship, that spiritual connection. And if that's something that you struggle with, book a complimentary call with me, or book a consultation with me, or something like that, because you gotta, I'm here to uplift and empower you, and to help you feel more confident in who you are designed and destined to be. And there are some specific things that you probably need just for you, in order for you to feel that, in order for you to live in that and move in that. So I'm here for that. So book a complimentary call. We are going to do readings in May. So get ready for that, because I am limiting the amount of readings that I do, because it's so much energy when it happens. So get ready for that. That's going to happen in May. And what else? Any special news? I think that's it. I will be seeing y'all. Hopefully y'all come to Houston for the Mystic Mind Conference with Dreamwise and Brother Joseph. I am going to speak at that conference. Hopefully y'all come. We're going to be in Houston July 8th. Go to newlifetools.com in order for you to tap in with that. I would love to see y'all there, to hug you and to just get to know you and feel your love and your energy in person. That would be beautiful. I love y'all, and we'll be talking soon. Peace and love, y'all. Peace, my IG family.